Good evening, everyone. We'll start shortly. All right, so welcome all in our weekly webinar Market Masterclass with Religare. Some of you know, some of you are joining us for the first time. So I'll just share the structure of this webinar. So we start with a quick recap to the week, means how the benchmark indices performed, sectoral trend, Nifty 50 gainers, losers. Then comes the actual part, our strategy or the view, like how one should read Nifty and the banking index. Some of these stocks which you should be keep a track on. We end this presentation with a quick feedback poll, and then you can ask any questions related to the presentation by using that Q&A button which is there in the front of your screen. तो आप सभी का स्वागत है हमारे वीकली वेबिनार में मार्केट मास्टर क्लास विद रेलिगेयर में। तो इसका पर्पस ये है कि हम नेक्स्ट वीक के लिए प्रिपेयर करें कि किस तरीके से मेजर इंडाइसेस कैसे परफॉर्म कर सकते हैं, कौन से स्टॉक सेक्टर्स जहाँ पे फोकस होना चाहिए, ये सब कुछ कवर करेंगे नेक्स्ट आधे घंटे में। तो 20 मिनट इनिशियली रहेंगे हमारे प्रेजेंटेशन के, उसके बाद एक फीडबैक, और फिर जो भी आपका सवाल है रिलेटेड टू द प्रेजेंटेशन, कोई सेक्टर मिस हुआ है और किसी के बारे में ज़्यादा जानना चाहते हैं, थीम के बारे में, तो डेफिनेटली वी कैन डिस्कस ड्यूरिंग द Q&A। उसके लिए Q&A बटन है आपकी स्क्रीन पे, उसको आपको प्रेस करना है और अपने सवाल को लिखकर आपको शेयर करना है। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द डिस्क्लेमर that it's not a trading or investment recommendation. So basically the main premise for this webinar is to prepare you or guide you or share the insights, basically how we are seeing the markets, so that you can make informed decisions. But before making any investments or trading ideas based on information shared, you can check with your financial advisor. So this is the market performance for the week. To start with, the benchmark indices, Nifty and Sensex, lost over a percentage. Sectoral trend was mixed. IT, pharma, media on positive side, realty, FMCG, banking, financials, metals. Means the last week, the gainers, and in fact the recent outperformers, majority were on the losing side. Nifty 50 gainers, 3 names from the IT basket: TechM, Wipro, HCL Tech, and then ONGC and Grasim also ended on a positive note. On the losing side, Eternal, means earlier Zomato, then Adani Ports, Titan, Power Grid, and Tata Steel. This is how markets performed during the week. Now, पहले इसको अगर हम देखें तो चौथा लगातार हफ्ता कंसोलिडेशन का। कंसोलिडेशन का क्यों, बावजूद गिरने के, बिकॉज पिछले 3 हफ्तों से हम यही देख रहे हैं, 24,000, 24,000, 450, 500 का जोन नीचे पे, और 25,000, 25,200 का जोन ऊपर पे। इस वीक भी वही हुआ, ये अपर बैंड टेस्ट हुआ, लोअर बैंड टेस्ट हुआ, दोनों ही चीजें टेस्ट हुई, और बीच में कहीं जाके हम सेटल हुए करीब 1% के कट के साथ। सेक्टर्स में जो कि अभी तक अच्छा परफॉर्म कर रहे थे, वो थोड़ा सा प्रॉफिट टेकिंग देखी उन्होंने। जो बैकफुट पे थे, आईटी, वहां पे स्टेबिलिटी दिखी। फार्मा इन द मिडिल था, तो उस तरीके से परफॉर्मेंस रही। और निफ्टी 50 गेनर्स भी अकॉर्डिंगली, और लूजर्स भी उसके हिसाब से ही रहे, जिस तरीके से हमने पास्ट में अभी रिसेंट आउट परफॉर्मेंस देखी थी। तो ये है इस वीक की परफॉर्मेंस। अब आते हैं मेन कि नेक्स्ट वीक कैसे, क्या एंटिसिपेट करें इंडेक्स में, निफ्टी में, टू स्टार्ट विद। सो लास्ट वीक ये हम फ्राइडे के दिन यहाँ क्लोज हुए थे। आप सभी को याद होगा कि आरबीआई की मीटिंग के बाद मार्केट ने एक स्ट्रॉन्ग रिकवरी दिखाई थी और हमने बात की थी कि अब 25,200 को टेस्ट करना और उसको ब्रेक करने की पॉसिबिलिटी मार्केट दिखा सकता है। इनिशियली स्टार्ट वैसी ही हुई, गैप अप शुरुआत फॉलोड बाय कंसोलिडेशन। 3 दिन तक हमने कुछ नहीं देखा, 25,200 के बस बार बार पास जाते थे और उसके बाद मार्केट क्लोज हो जाती थी फ्लैटिश टू मार्जिनली नेगेटिव। थर्सडे को मींस कल के सेशन और आज के सेशन में यहाँ पे टेक्सचर दोबारा से इसने पुश कर दिया उसी कंसोलिडेशन में जिसमें हम पिछले 3 हफ्तों से चलते आ रहे थे। राइट, सो इट्स बीन लाइक 3 week long consolidation which we were eyeing a breakout from, and initially there were like attempts to cross the hurdle at 25,200. If we talk about this range, yes, it was a breakout, but it's not a very decisive breakout, because when you close closer to the neckline area of the same consolidation range without any meaningful strength, means opening around the day's low and closing around the day's high, this gap up start, and that to a very very small candle, holds negligible significance. So that's the reason why in the next two trading session also we didn't see much action on the higher side. Means bulls were positive, but they were cautious also. And it proved to be right, because in the next two trading session, market surrendered all the gains, and again we have re-entered into this consolidation phase. So now what? So today was an important day because a couple of things happened. One, that we again slipped below the 20 EMA, this yellow line as you can see. Second, that we have retested the lower band of this consolidation range again. So as of now, 24,500, 25,200 is something that will continue to act as a range. But if we break the lower band around 24,400, let's say, then probably this 100 EMA is going to be the next support area, so which comes around 24,000 mark. Slightly above that, but precautionary, 24,000 is something that one should keep in mind. So if we break this range on the downside, then 24,000 is going to be the support area. Upside, we all know 25,200 we have been discussing for last 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. That will continue to act as a major hurdle. In between, of course, this zone 25,000, in fact, this 24,800, marginally, I'm not giving this much importance because it's been multiple attempts now around the 20 EMA. 25,000 and then 25,200, that will be the first zone that Nifty is going to face resistance around, and then a new high. So as of now, indications are in the favor of consolidation, but since we have breached 20 EMA, one should be slightly cautious, right? तो देखिए, इस कंसोलिडेशन में क्योंकि हम 20 EMA के नीचे हैं, तो थोड़ा सा कॉशन बनाना बनता है, कंसिडरिंग कि अभी तक 20 EMA के ऊपर ज्यादा टाइम हम ऊपर स्पेंड कर रहे थे। आज के सेशन में जिस तरीके से अटेम्प्ट जरूर हुआ कि हमने कवर करने की कोशिश की कि 800 को दोबारा से रिक्लेम कर ले, 24,800 के पास करीब 20 EMA प्लेस्ड है, बट हो नहीं पाया। और सबसे बड़ा प्रॉब्लम जो अभी हमारे लिए है वो है क्रूड का। दो आप कहेंगे कि क्रूड कमोडिटी मार्केट का इससे क्या लेना देना, तो बेसिकली हमारी इकोनॉमी का लेना देना है। 80% जो क्रूड है हमारा, जो इम्पोर्ट बिल का, वो 80% क्रूड का है। तो अगर क्रूड बढ़ जाता है $65 से लेकर सीधा $75 पे, तो हमारे इकोनॉमी के लिए अच्छा नहीं है। तो उसका रिएक्शन मार्केट में देखने को मिलता है, जो कि आज के सेशन में हुआ। और ये सब क्यों हो रहा है? ग्लोबल क्लूज हैं, आप सभी को पता है कि जियोपॉलिटिकल काफी लंबे टाइम से रशिया यूक्रेन, मिडिल ईस्ट में ईरान इजराइल, और फिर कभी टैरिफ वॉर, कभी फिर ट्रेड डील से रिलेटेड अनसर्टेनिटी। तो ये सारे फैक्टर्स बेसिकली ग्लोबल फ्रंट पे जो हैं चैलेंजेस बनाए हुए हैं। डोमेस्टिक्स आर मच पॉजिटिव, बट लेट्स नॉट गेट इनटू दोज डिटेल्स बिकॉज वी आर कंसर्न्ड अबाउट व्हाट पार्ट। तो व्हाट इसमें अभी इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि 24,400 को आपको ध्यान रखना है। जब तक कि वो होल्ड हो रहा है, तब तक मार्केट कंसोलिडेशन का टोन बना के रखेगी, ऊपर पे दोबारा 25,000 25,200 का अटेम्प्ट करेगी। बट यहाँ पे स्टॉक सिलेक्शन थोड़ा सा इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है। क्यों? क्योंकि पिछले 3 हफ्तों में जब निफ्टी कंसोलिडेशन में था ना, मिड कैप और स्मॉल कैप रैली कर रहा था। अब मिड कैप स्मॉल कैप में भी प्रॉफिट टेकिंग आ रही है। तो इतना इजी नहीं होगा नेक्स्ट वीक आपके लिए स्टॉक को आइडेंटिफाई करना और अडेप्ट करना कि रिकवरी में कहाँ जाए। थोड़ा सा ज्यादा मेहनत और पेशेंस और थोड़ा सा क्वांटिटी और मतलब एग्रेसिव पोजीशनिंग ना बनाए जब तक कि थोड़ा सा फ्रंट क्लियर ना हो। राइट, सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट निफ्टी मींस 24,400, दैट्स अ मेक और ब्रेक एरिया। जब तक इसके ऊपर है देन इट्स ओके। below 24,400, 24,000 is something that Nifty might test. One should act accordingly. Now comes the major culprit, banking. I've kept this chart intentionally because this is what we were discussing last week, a breakout in banking index and probably a retest of this upper trend line around 58,000 mark. But it failed. Failed as in means a gap up start, then a gradual decline followed by a sharp, uh, you know, fall on Friday, and this also slipped below its short-term averages 20 EMA. राइट, सो देखिए बैंकिंग इंडेक्स पे ही सारा दारोमदार था कि अगर 25,200 को क्रॉस करना है तो बैंकिंग ही कराएगा और फिर 25,600 तक निफ्टी चली जाएगी कि दूसरे सेक्टर्स भी बीच बीच में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे। बट बैंकिंग का ही ब्रेकआउट था, वो फील हो गया। राइट, सो 56,000 का जो ब्रेकआउट था वो पूरा का पूरा हमने नेगेट कर दिया। अब सिमिलर टू निफ्टी अगेन इट विल बी अंडर कंसोलिडेशन, जहां पे कि 54,600, sorry, this area and then this area 54,000. These are the areas of support for banking index in the coming week. Right, upside 56,000, the first hurdle means the breakout zone, and if we cross then 57,000, the recent high. What was the challenge during the week which we observed was the underperformance of private banking majors like HDFC and ICICI. So while the entire pack was showing strength, specifically the PSUs in the banking basket, these two names failed to participate. In fact, they participated on the opposite side, means they were declining when majority of the banking heavyweights were witnessing traction. So that's the reason why we could not see a follow-up move in banking index. And it's not only these two names, but the other financial names also witnessed a similar kind of a trend, but they were mostly volatile. They were not outrightly declining or trading on the other side. So largely, yes, the underperformance of the private banking majors hurt the sentiments and triggered this decline. So how one should approach? So one should be slightly cautious because we all know that banking is highly volatile, and since the trend within the private banking majors is not very clear, one should wait and see how the situation spans out in the initial days next week, and then accordingly take a call. Let's say we reclaim 56,000 mark, then probably we can again look for buying opportunity. Otherwise, there could be volatile swings in banking in the next week. तो देखिए बैंकिंग पे ही सारा होप्स था, सारा उम्मीद थी कि यही 25,200 के ऊपर लेके जाएगा निफ्टी को। बट प्राइवेट बैंकिंग मेजर्स में से आईसीआईसीआई और एचडीएफसी बैंक इन दोनों की अंडर परफॉर्मेंस ने इस पूरे बायस को नेगेट कर दिया। मींस इनिशियल डिक्लाइन बहुत ग्रेजुअल था, उसके बाद फिर थर्सडे ऑनवर्ड्स प्रेशर बढ़ा और 20 EMA के नीचे भी आ गए हम। तो ये जो कंसोलिडेशन का जोन था 56,000 वाला, वो भी गया और अपने शॉर्ट टर्म एवरेजेस के नीचे भी आ गए। जब तक एटलीस्ट 56,000 को रिक्लेम नहीं कर लेते हैं डिसाइसिवली, तब तक तो कोई ऐसा मेजर रिकवरी रिबाउंड के इंडिकेशंस नहीं दिखते। और नीचे पे क्या होगा, ये 54,500-600 का जोन और उसके बाद फिर 54,000 का ये जोन, ये सपोर्ट एरिया होगा। तो अभी के लिए बैंकिंग में थोड़ा सा एग्रेसिव पोजीशनिंग अवॉइड करनी है, थोड़ा सा वेट एंड वॉच बैंकिंग में रखना चाहिए, राइट। This is about banking. Now let's explore stocks. So basically, when we are seeing Nifty undergoing under a consolidation phase, banking trend not very clear. So here, less volatile stocks means low beta counters is something that you should be focusing on, or stocks which are relatively higher, showing relatively higher strength. So one such name is Loris Lab. As you can see, it's been almost like what, nearly 3.5 years of consolidation that the stock has experienced. This was the record high zone, but if we consider this period, finally we are inching towards the record high after forming a base before the breakout. So Loris Lab is one candidate from the pharma basket, from the defense basket, which one can look to accumulate, considering this prolonged consolidation followed by this break. देखिए, लॉरस लैब काफी लंबे टाइम के कंसोलिडेशन के बाद एक ये फेज 1-1.5 महीने का अपने नेकलाइन एरिया के पास बनाया और उसके बाद ये ब्रेकआउट देखने को मिला, राइट। तो ये इंडिकेशन है कि नए हाइज बन सकते हैं इसमें आने वाले टाइम में। इस पे फोकस किया जा सकता है फॉर स्ट्रेंथ फॉर लॉन्ग ट्रेड्स। नेक्स्ट ऑन द लिस्ट, मैक्स हेल्थ। So, in fact, for this entire week, one thing which I've noticed is that within the healthcare space, majority of the hospital stocks rather, they were showing consistency in the strength. Be it Mex, Apollo, Fortis, STRDM, NH, Narayan Hardwale, all these stocks were holding strong. So, Max Health, as you can see, like, almost 5-6 month long consolidation phase, followed by a breakout. Stock is at the record highs when the market is struggling. So this shows relatively higher strength. And what this means is that there's a possibility that we may continue to see this outperformance continuing in the next week too, right? So here, just like Loris, we are seeing strength, stock at the record highs, a decent or a base formation before the break. So everything is aligned for a steady up move. तो देखिए, इस हफ्ते एक चीज जो हेल्थ केयर बास्केट में नोटिस करने वाली थी, मतलब अच्छी मूवमेंट हुई डायग्नोस्टिक स्टॉक्स में भी, बट जो आपके हॉस्पिटल वाले जो हैं स्टॉक्स, चाहे वो अपोलो हो, फोर्टिस हो, मैक्स हेल्थ केयर हो, NH नारायण हृदयालय हो, एस्ट्रोडीएम, इन सभी में स्टेबिलिटी थी और कहीं ना कहीं ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ दिख रही थी, मींस बाइंग इंटरेस्ट इमर्ज हो रहा था। तो वही चीज रिफ्लेक्ट हो रही है मैक्स हेल्थ के ग्राफ में। स्टॉक अपने रिकॉर्ड हाई पे आ गया, एक कंसोलिडेशन के बाद वॉल्यूम्स काफी स्ट्रेंथन हुए हैं जब रिकॉर्ड हाई बना है। तो ये सारे के सारे फैक्टर्स ये इंडिकेट कर रहे हैं कि पॉजिटिव टोन आने वाले वीक में भी कंटिन्यू रह सकता है मैक्स हेल्थ केयर में। तो इसको आप अपने वॉच लिस्ट में रख सकते हैं। राइट, लास्ट ऑन द लिस्ट, सो इट्स नॉट only about positives. It's about what if Nifty breaks 24,400, or let's say Nifty continues to consolidate, but on the stock specific front we see pressure. Then FMCG is the basket. Not all the names, but majority of the stocks, they are still under pressure. So first name, HUL. As you can see, a very steady decline, right? Followed by multiple attempts of recovery above the major averages, but couldn't sustain. This time around, it didn't even surpass this zone. Means this was a brief attempt to surpass the major hurdle of long-term moving average, but couldn't hold. So this shows that bears are still under control, and until we break 2400 mark, this sideways to negative tone would continue in HUL. तो देखिए, एक सेक्टर जहां पे कि सबसे ज्यादा स्ट्रेंथ की कमी है, मैं वीकनेस के लिए नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, बिकॉज वहां पे गिरावट भी उतनी ज्यादा नहीं हो रही है, बट पार्टिसिपेशन ही नहीं आ रहा। जब मीन्स मार्केट रिकवर कर रही है, तेज हो रही है, तो पार्टिसिपेशन नहीं आ रहा है, तो वो है एफएमसीजी। मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टॉक, चाहे ब्रिटानिया और मैरिको, दो नामों को छोड़कर अगर आप देखेंगे, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द स्टॉक या तो रेंज में है या फिर नीचे जा रहे हैं। तो एचयूएल में क्या हुआ है, हिंद यूनिलीवर में, कि बहुत टाइट रेंज में कंसोलिडेट कर रहा था, बहुत अटेम्प्ट हुए अपने लॉन्ग टर्म एवरेजेस को क्रॉस करने की, 24,000 के मार्क के पास जो है, 2400 के मार्क के पास, बट सस्टेन नहीं कर पाया और अब डिक्लाइन। तो यहाँ पॉसिबिलिटी ये है कि अंडर परफॉर्मेंस कंटिन्यू कर सकती है। तो एचयूएल बाय करके चलना कि ये डिफेंसिव है, वो एक अच्छी स्ट्रैटेजी नहीं होगी यहाँ पे। मीन्स एफएमसीजी भी अभी नेगेटिव टोन में है, तो केवल फार्मा जैसे हमने बात की, चाहे तो एक लॉरस लैब की फ्रॉम दी बास्केट, बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि फार्मा में कुछ भी आप बाय करें, वहां पे भी आपको अंडर परफॉर्मेंस दिखेगी। तो सेम एचयूएल में आपको नेगेटिव साइड पे पॉसिबिलिटी मिल सकती है इन द नेक्स्ट वीक, राइट। सो जस्ट टू सम इट अप, निफ्टी में कंसोलिडेशन कैन कंटिन्यू, 24,400, 25,200, that's the broader range. Either side break would trigger the next move, means 24,000 or 25,600. Banking, we have re-entered into that consolidation phase after the breakout above 56,000 mark. So there, 54,500, 600 first zone, and then 54,000. For tone to change or at least be slightly bullish, we need to reclaim 56,000 mark. 56,000 के ऊपर ही थोड़ी स्टेबिलिटी और पॉजिटिविटी दिखेगी, अदरवाइज यहाँ पे और वॉलिटिलिटी रहेगी, ज्यादा ध्यान रखने की जरूरत है। स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक, लॉरस लैब, मैक्स हेल्थ एंड HUL is something that we've discussed. Right, so this is all from the presentation part. Let's do a quick feedback poll and then we can start using that, start with the Q&A session. First you can fill your feedback and then you can post your question using that Q&A button which is front of your screen. कोई भी सवाल है आपका, आप जो Q&A का बटन लगा हुआ है क्वेश्चन मार्क के साथ, उसको आप प्रेस करेंगे तो आपके पास एक स्क्रीन खुलेगी, उस पे आप अपने एक सवाल लिखकर पूछ सकते हैं। स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक क्वेरीज प्लीज अवॉइड करिएगा किसी सेक्टर के बारे में, सो दैट कि सबको बेनिफिट मिले आपके सवाल से। पहले उसकी कोशिश करेंगे, फिर टाइम अलाउ करेगा तो फिर विल टेक फ्यू स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक क्वेरीज आल्सो। So quickly fill this feedback so that we can start with the Q&A. Those who are done, they can start posting their question using that Q&A button. जिनका हो गया है feedback, they can post their questions. Right, we are almost done now. Okay. Okay, let's start with Q&A now. Okay, so Mr. Rajesh Naik has this question: power sector and petrochemical. So energy. Let's talk about energy basket, which talks about both. So initially, when the week started, it was a firm start to the energy basket also, be it power or like oil related counters and all. But as the week progressed, the jump in the crude completely changed the equation, and power stocks also witnessed volatile swings after this recent recovery. So going ahead, if we see the positioning, so it's likely to be muted. It's not going to be outrightly bullish or bearish. The energy space. So at one end, let's say the refiners, they are doing well, with crude inching higher, means ONGC, Oil India, and all, and the OMCs, HPCL, BPCL, IOC, they all are reeling under pressure. It's a kind of like a balancing act that we are seeing in the oil-related space. Power, on the other hand, it's completely a mixed bag. Or maybe we may see extended consolidation because majority of the stocks were under consolidation phase within the power basket. So that might continue. So as of now, energy basket, you may selectively pick closer to the recent lows in case if you were observing any stock and it was trading in a range. So closer to the lower band, you can definitely look to attempt to accumulate them, or around the upper band for shorting opportunity or to book profits. Okay, Mr. Kamlesh has questions on PVC pipes. Okay. So of late we were seeing some recovery within this space. You mentioned those names also, like FinPipe, Astral, and all. So again, but the critical part is that the broader indices, mid cap and small cap, after the phase of outperformance, we may see some consolidation or maybe further profit taking, and majority of the stocks falls under that category. So that may continue to hurt the prospects of a very steady recovery. But yeah, they are comparatively stronger in the current market scenario. But volatility is something that it hurts, across the basket, especially in the cash segment. So avoid aggressive positioning, but yes, you can look to accumulate if the view is more than a month, with strict stop losses, considering the normal choppiness that we see within the mid cap and small cap space. All right. Okay, so Subhaji has this question: what is your view on crude? Because we've discussed about crude. So okay, I'll just highlight because it's very important from our market perspective also. So it's not from the commodity market perspective. I'm answering from the equity market perspective. So like what I've shared during the presentation itself, that we import 80% of our requirement from outside. So what it means that our import means we pay a lot to import crude, And if it inches from 65 to 75, 76, then this $10 dent is something that we have to pay extra. So if that happens, and if the situations further escalate in the Middle East, and if it disrupts the supply situation, then obviously it may inch toward 82, 83 in the near future. Around that area, I believe there could be a bit of a consolidation or a pause, because we were at 64, 65 for almost a decent amount of time. So around $20 jump, we should be stable, provided the situation doesn't escalate further, or we may see some, easing, or supply side situations continues to be on a softer side. So gradually we'll again see around $70 kind of a level where it might finally settle. But yeah, as of now, crude is going to be the key factor for our markets, sentimentally at least, because it's not about crude going up in a single day and that will deteriorate the entire situation. Staying at a particular level makes the change or difference, right? Okay, next we have question Vashnakaran on. Okay, so it's cement stock. So we'll answer on the cement basket. So majority, I won't say majority, but yeah, a good amount of stocks within the cement basket, they are holding strong. So be it Dalmia, Grasim, Ultratech, JK Lakshmi, they all are holding strong. Ramco. So, but since we have already seen some of these stocks decent run up, aggressive positioning is something that one should avoid. In case if we get any dip, definitely you can consider accumulating the cement related counters, but be selective, and preference should be given to the names which you have just discussed, basis their overall participation and the earnings. Okay. Next we have agrochemicals. Okay, so let's see if we have a separate index on agrochemicals. No, we don't have. But see, it's more about trading in tandem, Snehansh, with the overall market sentiments. So UPL, PI. So again, it's a very mixed trend, because I was not following this basket very closely. But so yeah, it's a kind of a like mixed trend which I'm seeing within the agrochemical space. As of now, what one can do is to be selective, because we all know that the kind of updates initially we had on the monsoon front means majority of the updates were positive, but of late we have started seeing the slowdown in the progress, or a delay. So this is something that one should be keep a close eye on, and of course the situation on the global front, that also plays a critical role, because chemical as a basket, we all know that China dependency on China is very high. So all these factors are going to be critical, at least in the near future. So here be selective, like PI, UPL, they are looking okay. Others where volumes are low is prudent to avoid. Okay. Okay, FMCG sector, Susyansh, I would recommend to refrain from aggressive buying. If you are planning to accumulate from the long-term perspective, then it's a good idea because obviously right price and right sentiments are not usually seen together. So at present, when the situation is not very favorable for most of the FMCG counters, we are seeing them under trading under pressure, but it's likely to change the course in next 1 year, 1.5 year kind of timeline. So if your time horizon is this, 1 to 2 years at least, then definitely you can look to accumulate some of these stocks from the FMCG basket for investment. Okay, cement we have already discussed. Suresh has question on EV stocks. So basically, Suresh, you must have heard this word of late. If you are following this space very closely, this rare earth metal, right, where we have dependency on China. So there is some supply constraint and challenges. So as of now, we are hearing a lot around this, and if it turns out to be a situation where the supply actually stops or moderates, then probably is going to impact the EV sector. Means they have limitation, when it comes to the inventory part. So the price are going to go higher. So initially, it would dent not only the production but also the sales for most of the EV players. So it's not going to be a very good situation in case if the situation turns out to be that ways. So for a time being now, it's prudent that you should avoid aggressive positioning in the EV stock if the view is short term. Rajesh, he has question on solar sector. Can it be a multi-bagger? So see, when it comes to renewable, no, uh, the investment period should be less, should be like 2 years, 3 years minimum, or better, like 4, 5 years. So if you are maintaining this kind of time horizon, then definitely you can consider investments. Otherwise, situation keep on changing with some or the other when it comes to regulatory or supply side or the actual takers. So it's not going to be outrightly a very uh, theme where in a year time you will see something. Uh, Selectively, yes, you can continue to see the participation, but for meaningful multi-bagger kind of return, something that you are eyeing, the time horizon should be higher. Okay, Jitendra has question on banking. So banking as a space, Jitendra, we discussed in detail during our presentation itself. So some of these stocks from the banking basket, especially from the PSU pack, they are still holding strong. See, volatility and choppiness is normal. So same hold true for IDFC First Bank also, which has rebounded very swiftly of late. And again, we are seeing a dip, but around 68, 69 around the lower end, around 73, 75 on the higher end is something that the stock might continue to hover in. तो ये आपका 68 से लेकर 75 के बीच में ही कुछ घूमता हुआ शायद आपको नजर आए आईडीएफसी फर्स्ट बैंक की अगर बात करें. बट बैंकिंग एज अ बास्केट जब ये आईसीआईसीआई और एचडीएफसी बैकफुट पे है ना, तब तक कुछ कहना बड़ा मुश्किल है कि किस तरीके से बैंकिंग एज अ सेक्टर परफॉर्म करेगा. तो जब तक यहाँ से कुछ पार्टिसिपेशन, जैसे आज की सिचुएशन में थोड़ा सा आईसीआईसीआई बैंक की पार्टिसिपेशन दिख रही थी, बट एचडीएफसी अभी भी बैकफुट पे है. तो ये थोड़े फैक्टर ऐसे रहेंगे कि जो बैंकिंग को थोड़ा वॉलेटाइल रखेगा. तो थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखें व्हेन इट कम्स टू बैंकिंग. ओके, alcohol and breweries. So majority of the stocks, they are doing well. Initially, yes, during the week we had uh, like a challenge where most of these stocks were down due to news from Maharashtra. But some of these stocks like GM, Som Distillery, Redico, United Spirits, they all are holding strong comparatively. So if your view is mid to long term, definitely you can look to accumulate. Short term, of course, in line with the performance of the broader indices, we might continue to see choppiness in the brewery stocks also. Okay, hotel stocks, Mr. Jayakumar has this question. So I feel the short term could be volatile for most of these hospitality names, including Indian Hotel, ITC, and all. Uh, but long term definitely looks promising. Means during this current sideways negative trend, it's time that one can look to accumulate with a time horizon of a year or two. So if your time horizon is over a year, there could be further correction or consolidation, maybe 5-10% more from the current levels, is something that we might see. So accumulate them instead of buying at one go and then wait for a 1 year time kind of a time horizon for actual returns, right? So this is largely, we have answered all the queries. Yes. So thank you everyone for participating. आप सभी का धन्यवाद कि आप लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया, सुना, समझा. अब नेक्स्ट वीक के परफॉर्मेंस के बाद नेक्स्ट फ्राइडे विल कनेक्ट अगेन at 4. We'll discuss market.